he's going against his high school teammate and team from his hometown. You worried about that at all?
No, I don't worry about him too much with that kind of stuff. I don't think it'll impact him at all.
I think he grew as a player going last week against Burke.
You know, I think every game for him, he seems to get better. I mean, even if he doesn't have the kind of numbers that he had on Sunday, which were obviously very good, 14 and 7, he just seems to be learning quite a bit. You know, we're hitting him with a lot of stuff and threw him right in there. There's things he forgets to do, and he just keeps working and concentrating. And I'm really pleased with his professionalism in terms of how he approaches things.
How player is Valentine as you watch him play?
He's really versatile. He's a big body. He's 220 at 6'5", and maybe the best part of his game is his passing. He likes to pass the ball. He's a really good ball handler for a guy. He's kind of a mismatched nightmare. He can play point forward. He can go in there and play the 4 spot. He's really a wing, I guess, but he can score. He can drive it. Very unselfish, makes plays for his teammates. You can tell that he's played a lot of basketball. He comes from a basketball family. His father was a great player, and he just really knows how to play.
Along those same lines, what impresses you about Gary Harris from Washington?
Well, he's a scorer. He's different than Valentine. Not that Valentine can't score, but Gary Harris is a handful when he gets the ball. He's going to try to score. He's going to shoot, drive, attack. That's what he is. He's very, very athletic. He's quick and powerful off the floor. He's always been a great player. We try to recruit him, and he's shooting the ball extremely well. He was always a good shooter. He's becoming, a great shooter, and I think that makes him that much harder to guard.
Is it too early for a sense of urgency, or is that how you like your guys to go into games?
There's always a sense of urgency. I mean, every night in this league, you got a handful.
Do you like the term "must win"? Or what are your feelings on that?
I don't think about games that way. We're going to try to win them all. If we lose, we're going to try to get better. There's no other way to approach it.
You were worried that your players think about it maybe that way?
I don't think they do, to be honest with you. I think coaches would be more likely to think of things in those terms than the players.
You questioned your team's toughness after the game the other day, especially in the second half, and going against a team that's reputation is based on toughness. How do you get that message across to get tougher, I guess?
Very directly. A lot of times, when you say stuff like that, when you look at the film, it's maybe not as bad. If it is as bad, which in this case it was, probably worse, you show it to them, and then they have to make a decision. They don't have to rant and rave, right? Rant a little bit, but not too much. And they got to look at it, and they got to justify to themselves and to their teammates what they didn't do. Because I will never get on a guy for not doing something that he maybe isn't capable of doing. But you can run back on defense. If you're on a Division I scholarship, you better run back on defense. And we didn't do that. And that's really disappointing.
Does that all fall under the toughness? Because it's such a broad
one. Yeah, because what happens, Pat, is they're on a run. We're struggling. Okay, we were scoring, everything was going great, and then we couldn't score. Well, you better show up your defense at that point in the game. We can't just trade, because all of a sudden you go 5 straight possessions. Even if you get a good shot, it doesn't go in. They're scoring. They're running it right back at you, and you better get back, and you better get Burke under control, and you better find 3-point shooters, and you better limit them to 1 shot. Because if we do that, then we're still up 1, down 1. You're still right in the game. But all of a sudden, you look up, you're down 11 because of we were not as tough as we needed to be. And I think toughness is defined in more ways than just, I'm not talking about banging people. This is mental toughness. It's understanding how you carry out the game plan. The thing about Michigan is, I think we look at them as a really good offensive team, which they are. They're substantially better defensively certainly than they've been since I've been in this league. They're more powerful. They're deeper. They've got big, strong guys. They've got athletic wing guys. They've got terrific guard play. So you're going to have to really work to score against them. And we did a really good job of that about the first 19 minutes. And if you can do it for 19 minutes, you can do it for 38 minutes, you can do it for 40 minutes. That's where we sort of fall apart there.
Have you challenged this team and that toughness thing coming into this game Thursday?
Well, we challenged them at the start of the season because that game was very reminiscent of our losses last year. If you think about it, if you look at the percentages, well over 50% from the field, well over 45% from three, got pounded on the glass. If you give up those numbers, you're going to lose. I don't care who you play. I mean, unless you shoot 78%, it makes it impossible. So if we can rebound with other teams, we should have been able to rebound with a team that plays 4 guards most of the time.
Do you think a defensive leader has emerged for your team, a guy that can go out there and
Well, I
consistently
think
do
it could be Eric, but he hasn't been in the starting lineup. It's a little bit harder. But he has really been the guy when we've needed that level of toughness. I think it was evident in particular in the Northern Iowa game. He was phenomenal in that game because once we got a lead, they kept coming as we knew they would. We were getting stops because of him. When he was out there, we were better collectively.
If you don't start to see that toughness in this game against Michigan State, is that when you start to consider maybe changing the lineup? And maybe
I would. I think that's a legitimate question. Yeah, I think I would. It's hard sometimes. Like let's say for example, the 2 biggest culprits are your 2 leading scorers, which is arguably what the case was in our last game. Okay, well, that's a dilemma. When Marble and White are struggling defensively, we still have to score. That's our 2 leading scorers. So that makes that decision a lot more complicated, quite frankly. But it may come to that.
Do your best players have to be your best defenders like Matt was last year in this group?
You would hope they are. But I think the reality is that's not always the case. It's not usually the case, I would say. You would like your best players to be your hardest workers. And I will say that in our case, our 2 leading scorers are really hard workers. They've got character. They're great people. They want to be good. I think maybe I'm playing too many minutes. You tend to leave your 2 leading scorers on the floor longer than everybody else. Maybe that's not in their best interest. Maybe that's not in our best interest. So we have to look at that. So there's a lot of things you look at as you go through the process.
Well, Sunday's game, the setback for you is at least the way you thought about this team and how they progressed. Did that surprise you?
What surprised me was the last 2 minutes of the first half. I thought we were better than that. They may not lose at home this year. And so, a lot of people probably thought we were going to lose that game. But we shouldn't have lost it the way we lost it. There's a right way and a wrong way to lose the game, I guess you'd say. And as well as we played, we should not have been down 11 points. We get the ball back, we should shoot the last shot. All right, maybe Dev shot it a little quick because we went early on the play. That happens. Well, then the other guys better get back. Because if we're back, Robinson doesn't get a layup. He probably pulls up to make sure he gets a shot off, and they're going to go down 9. Those kinds of things impact you. They score you go down 11, and then Hardaway hits a 3 to start the second half, and all of a sudden it's 14. And a minute ago we were down 2. That is difficult to overcome on the road. You have to be able to understand that before it happens, not figure it out after it happens.